Ребята, перед началом видео я хочу сказать, в этом видео я не хочу захейтить Май и все его правила. Это моя сугубо вещь, мой отглас от себя. Хочу рассказать, как я на это все считаю. И не судите очень строго. Это можно даже сказать, что это дисклеймер, типа, это моя сугубо вещь. Я рассказываю просто от своего мнения. И все. И всем привет, с вами я Богдан Космос. И по названию видео могли заметить, что Майнкрафт скатился. Сейчас маленький слайд. Даже не слайд, а видосик. И я возвращаюсь. И вы уже, ребята, посмотрели трейлер, можно даже так сказать, игры про Майнкрафт, новая версия 1.17, летнее обновление, даже можно я так скажу вам. Не совсем оно летнее. Разделено на 3 сезона. Летняя, зимняя, новогодняя. Вопрос, Моджинг. Зачем это было сделано? Крупная компания по Майнкрафту, раз. Отдельно к Майкрософту. Чего нельзя было просто выделить людей на разработку? Майнкрафт приносит в годы больше, чем какие-то игры. И сейчас вам покажу, когда был Майнкрафт Лайф, половину такого, что должно было выйти, Майнкрафт Dungeons в это не считается, там есть тоже. Сейчас минутку вы посмотрите, и я вернусь.
Hi, Agnes and Brandon.
Hi.
Hello.
Let's do this.
So, okay. The next update is the update that we know that so many of you, and well, so many of us as well, has been wanting for such a long time. It's the Caves and Cliffs update.
It must feel amazing to be able to tell everyone that.
Seriously, I'm so excited about this. I mean, even before I joined Mojang, I was always thinking about when is the cave update gonna come? And this is it, but it's also got the cliffs as well. It's got the mountains. This is such a big update, and I'm so excited.
How are you feeling, Agnes?
Great. No, it's so good. So we have been working on this update for quite long, and we're we can't wait to tell everyone. And now we just announced it, and it feels
It's we're actually
amazing.
getting our first live look at some reactions.
Oh,
Okay, that's very cute.
so cute.
Those mobs are very, very excited. This year, we asked some of our communities to submit questions that we'll answer across the show. This first question definitely feels like something everyone wants to know.
Mi pregunta es, ¿por qué se han tardado tanto en actualizar las cuevas y cuándo llegarán? En verdad que hemos estado pidiendo esto por muchísimo tiempo.
Why has it taken so long? Like Brandon, I've been waiting a long time too.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, since this update really is the update, we have been dreaming about it for so long. So, it felt so important for us to do it right. Like, we don't want to rush it. But now we feel it's the right time. Like, we have spent the time we need to really like understand the vision we have for the update, and also to make sure that we understand what the community actually wants. And we've also like planned around it to make sure that we really can work together with the community to make this and like as epic update as possible. And we have also hired some new amazing developers to the team.
And you're one of the amazing developers, Brandon.
Yeah, I joined this year in January, and I actually came from the community. I used to do modding for 10 years. One of the first mods I worked on was the Aether, which is like a dimension that added sky islands and stuff. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be here and work on an update this epic.
I'm so happy to have you.
We have another creator question.
Hi, I'm the Pink Diamond Diva, and this is my question. Are you making the caves more advanced for older players so they can mine deep, or are you making them more accessible and easy to navigate for newer players?
Such a great question.
Yeah, I mean, with this update, we're making sure that we can have as much variation as possible within the actual caves themselves, but we want to make sure that the old caves are still retained as much as possible to keep that classic feel.
Yeah, and we really also looked into to make sure that we have something for everyone, because we have such a huge community, and it's also a very diverse community, and that's such a beautiful thing. So we really want this update to have something for everyone. So actually, we made sure to map all the features in the update to different player styles to really see that we fulfill that goal.
That's so cool. And you had such a big thought process on how you decide what even goes into an update this big.
Yeah, we have spent quite a lot of time on just making sure that we have a very good like fundament for the update. For example, we did the player style mapping, and we've also worked with design pillars. So the design pillars, they kind of describe the vision of the update. So for example, they help us when we like prioritize between different features, and also when we design each specific feature. And we have 3 pillars for this update. And the first one is actually all about like the spectacular mountains, the snowier snow, and the mischievous goats. Because at last year's live, the players voted for these features, and we felt like it's so important to deliver on that promise. So we actually wanted to have it as a pillar.
Yeah, and another pillar that we actually integrated into this was adding strategy to mining. So of course, Minecraft already has plenty of strategy in mining, but we wanted to see if we could push that just a little bit further and add even more mechanics that make it interesting for players to mine in the caves.
Yeah, and the third pillar is to create an underground of marvel for the players. And that pillar is a lot about like adding variation to the underground and like contrast and like inspire players to like craft their own underground adventures and build underground. And one thing we have done to like fulfill this pillar is that we have added new cave biomes, and one of them is the lush caves.
So beautiful. It doesn't feel cave-like.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make sure that, of course, in Minecraft, all the original caves, they're pretty much the same. There's not much variation in terms of vegetation or different features inside of it. So for this, we wanted something which is a bit more like light and lush and actually has vegetation. And I mean, I think it looks amazing.
It's gorgeous. What was the inspiration behind it?
So we were thinking about, okay, so how should it feel when you are in a lush cave? And we wanted to be like, so you feel like very tiny inside like a big garden or big forest. So like when you look up, it's actually like vegetation above you, it's vegetation around you. And one source of inspiration we had is actually a Swedish painter called John Bauer, because in his paintings it's always, or often at least, like a tiny character, and then it's like huge forest, and you see like the bottom of the trees because the vegetation is like so big compared to the character.
And you're adding so many new plants in the lush caves.
Yes, so I don't know if you saw, but there was this new tree that was actually above on the overworld, and this is called an azalea tree. So it's a unique type of tree that it'll be easy to spot for players, and if you actually find this and start going down its roots, you will find a lush cave there. So this is another part of adding strategy to mining, where there are certain landmarks which will allow you to understand what you're doing in the game.
That's cool. And another one of the new blocks is a block called Spore Blossom. And it's that you maybe saw it in the video. It's a big pink flower that you find in the roof of the lush cave. And it will drip particles from that flower, but it will also actually feel like a big volume around it with particles. So it's similar to the particles that we added to the nether biomes in the nether update. But the cool thing here is that you can move the flower if you want to and get these particles anywhere you want in your world. So you can actually be very creative with that.
That's so awesome. And the lush caves have a real glow to them from one of the plants.
Yes. So there are vines in the lush caves, and they have glow berries on them, and these are actually a light source. And you can also pick them and eat them if you want to.
Nice.
Yes. And another plant we actually have is the drip leaf plant. And you can actually see that they can kind of grow from like water or anywhere else. And they grow quite tall, but they have like a little plant on the top that you can actually hop onto. So the idea of the mechanic behind it is that the leaf will actually tilt down when you stand on it too long. So this will actually make you fall through. However, after a few seconds, it'll come back up. So it's kind of this like platforming block that allows you to just, continue platforming over and over again, which I hope is really exciting for, content creators making maps.
Yeah, you can build like your own platforming levels, and then they will repair themselves. That's kind of neat.
It's so beautiful in there. And there's actually a mob coming to the lush caves.
Yes, there is. But we will actually not tell you about this mob now, because in the end of the show, we will show even more features coming to the Caves and Cliffs update. And then we're going to show that mob.
This is
so
the
much.
first time we have so much that we're actually splitting the update section into two, at the beginning and towards the end of the show. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
You've also worked on improving the cave generation.
Yes.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this is drastically different to what caves used to look like. And there's definitely still the old style of caves, but we wanted to make sure that there was much more variety in the sort of caves and the shapes and the sizes you could get. And even here, you can see that there's some water underground.
Yes. So we actually added something we call local water levels. So in one cave might find like a cave lake, and another cave might not have that one. And this also means that we get naturally generated waterfalls, which is so pretty. And it also kind of gives like new ways to traverse the underground. You can actually go cave rafting.
Yeah,
That's
so you'll
lovely.
see in a bit that our player here will actually use a boat to raft. And that is just such an exciting opportunity to be able to traverse the caves in a very different way than you used to.
Yeah, we were playtesting, and then one of the devs like, look at this, it's so fun, and all of us just started to go with the boat on the waterfalls. It was a lot of fun.
So another thing to note here is that you could see that a lot of the ores were actually glowing. This is just for preview purposes. Ores aren't going to glow now. It's just that the caves tend to be quite dark, and we want to make sure that players can see the shapes of the cave.
Now, will that only be for the normal caves, or will this run across all of the new cave biomes?
Yeah, so the really cool thing is that the new cave shapes and sizes is completely independent from the new biomes. So that means that we have so much variation. Because, for example, a lush cave can, for example, generate, in a super narrow tunnel, but it can also generate in like a huge cavern, and that creates completely different atmospheres, but it's still the same biome. So we're really going to have lots of variation underground now.
You've been calling two of the different cave types spaghetti and Swiss cheese? That's how varied the caves could be?
Yes, there are so many different variables with how the variation works, and it has even more variation than the overworld itself. It's just crazy.
It's a lot. Yeah, some of the caves, for example, have really cool pillars, and some are more like flat, some are tall. Lots of variation.
Very nice. And you have another new cave biome to show us.
Yes, so we have the Dripstone Caves biome. And whenever I think about the idea of a cave update, the image of stalagmites and stalactites comes into my head. But adding these are pretty difficult. You know, it's a very unique shape that Minecraft isn't really accustomed to. But I think the way that the artist put it into Minecraft works quite well. And of course, there's some mechanics surrounding this. So you can see that someone destroyed the block up the top, and so the dripstone fell down. And also, unfortunately for this zombie here, if you fall on these dripstones, you will get hurt.
Poor zombie.
There's another interesting mechanic in the dripstone caves.
Yes, so maybe you saw in the video that, like, from the stalactites, you could see that it was like dripping water. So actually, if you put a cauldron under a stalactite, it will fill up with water. So it's renewable water.
And how do you remember which is stalactites and stalagmites?
Well, that's a very good question. It has been very tricky to remember that, but I think I learned. So we actually, it's hold on tight to stalactite. I was going to say the wrong one. So stalactite is in the roof and stalagmite is on the floor.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We've been practicing that, all of us.
For a long time, like even.
And you have something really amazing in this update for the sort of redstone engineers out there.
Yes, so we've actually been thinking about this redstone block that lives in the deep dark, a new biome at the deepest depths of the world. We're not going to talk about this biome too much today, but we are going to show some of the blocks and maybe later a mob that comes from it. So if we look at the video, we can actually see that it's basically this growth, and this is called the skulk blocks. And one of the blocks is called the skulk sensor. This is the new redstone block. As you can see, when you place or destroy a block, or if you have footsteps, it'll actually detect the vibrations around and then emit a redstone signal. So this is going to be very interesting for redstone players. We even have a mechanic around it where you can actually use wool with wool occlusion to essentially prevent signals from being able to get into the skulk sensor. So let's take a look at that now. And as you can see here, I walked next to the skulk sensor, and it's actually kind of doing an infinite loop where the piston is causing a vibration, and then it's activating the skulk sensor and going over and over again. But here, I've actually put a wool block in between the piston, which prevents the signal from going to the skulk sensor. This can allow you to even do sort of directional skulk sensors where you can put wool blocks on each side and only allow it to detect vibrations in front of it. And vibrations can be so many different things. You know, it can be a snowball hit, it could be an arrow, it could be footsteps, it could be blocks, anything.
So cool.
Yeah.
And another thing, we had a bit of an happy accident with this because we realized that we get wireless redstone thanks to the skulk sensor.
Yes.
So, and we didn't even plan to add it, but then when we started playtesting, we're like, wait, we got wireless redstone, and that's so exciting. And well, you can just build so many cool things with that. It's going to be exciting to see what the community will build.
Yeah, you're really looking for community feedback to make sure this feels great for everyone.
Absolutely. I think because this is such a unique mechanic, we really want to make sure that we get it right. And, you know, we love the redstone community and we want to make sure that we do it right. So any feedback you have, any ideas, send it to us and we will work with you to make this the best block that it can be.
And now, we said there's another mob coming later, but I think it's time for a new mob coming to the Caves and Cliffs update.
It is. And this is a very scary mob. And it lives in the deepest of the underground, in the deep dark. And this is a very dark place. And the cool thing is that this mob is very well adapted to the environment. So it can't see anything. So it's the first blind mob in Minecraft. And that's very interesting because it gives such interesting mechanics. So instead, it will react to vibrations, just like the skulk sensor block. So if you aren't very careful when you walk around in the deep dark, you might upset that mob.
Yeah, with this mob, we really wanted to make sure that we kind of recaptured that feeling of the first night of Minecraft. And we can often forget that Minecraft can be a pretty scary game. So we wanted to make sure that we could kind of go back to that. I mean, caves can be scary. They're dark. And all I'm going to say is that when you go into the deep dark, I want to make sure that you're very quiet and watch closely for the warden.
What did we just see?
It's a very different mob. I'm really excited for this because not only is it trying to be scary, it's, we had to keep a balance to it. It was very challenging to design a mob like this. Another thing that's really important to note is in that video, I was wearing full netherite armor, so it's very powerful. You
That's
definitely want to watch
dangerous
out. Yeah.
Which I think also is such an interesting gameplay, because like if you want to, you can avoid it, but then you need to really be careful, like sneak all the time to not make like any kind of movement that it will detect. But that's a lot of fun, and it's like feels scary, but in the good way.
And you wanted to kind of take everyone back to that first night experience with the warden.
Absolutely. I mean, I had such an amazing experience when I first played Minecraft. Like, it was terrifying listening to zombies underneath my house and in the caves, and hopefully we can bring that back to players, but 10 years later.
Yeah. But that would be just amazing, because you hear so many lovely first night stories. It's such a big thing, and I mean, I'm also very fond of my first night in Minecraft, so we hope to give that experience again.
But you really balance sort of the look of it. It's like it's almost cute, but also really, really terrifying. How did you decide?
Yeah. We actually worked a lot on how does scariness look in Minecraft? Because we wanted to be very scary, and we didn't want to take away from the scariness, but we felt let's add some derpiness to it. So it's like a mix. So for example, we added the mouth. I love the mouth, and some actually reacted like, oh, it's so cute, which I think it's more scary, but I think we find like the perfect balance.
We know you've waited a long time for this update, and if you thought the first set of features for the caves were awesome, it's time for even more awesomeness. Agnes and Nir from the Vanilla Minecraft gameplay team are here to tell us what else is coming to the Caves and the Cliffs update. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hey,
How does it feel?
it's so amazing. It's so awesome to finally be able to share that with everyone.
Yes, it feels great, and we have looked a bit at tweets during the break, and
We have some more tweets.
we have more tweets.
Yes.
Wireless redstone.
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
yes. And there will be so many cool things you can build with that. And the warden, it's amazing to see all the excitement.
It's so cool.
Nir, you recently joined the Mojang Studios team.
Yes, I joined this year. But honestly, I'm not completely sure how that happened. And not just joining Mojang, I'm not really sure how I'm here in Minecraft Live, because like just last year I was home, glued to the stream. I had to know what the next thing is coming to Minecraft, and today it's not only that I get to share that, it's I got to work on some of those things, so it's fairly incredible. But yeah, I've been developing games for a few years now, and more recently, I've actually worked with this non-profit organization called Games for Peace, which is an amazing organization which basically uses games to promote peace. Like he takes kids from areas of conflict all around the world and sits them down to play Minecraft. And sometimes it's kids that don't even share a language, so they can't talk. So Minecraft is the language they share. Minecraft is what helps them connect and get to know each other and creates friendships, right? And it was amazing being part of that.
It's so cool. I mean, sometimes I feel like, oh, I know all the amazing things that are happening with Minecraft. And then you described that to Agnes and I, and we both were like, we've never heard that. And it's so cool.
It's so beautiful.
Amazing.
Absolutely
It's amazing.
beautiful. So in this update, you've been really looking at like filling out the caves even more.
Yes, so there are even more things to show. And in the things we showed so far, it's a lot about like improving the journey underground, but of course we also want to add like new things to find, like new resources, and one of them are crystals.
They're so beautiful.
Yes, that the moment you turn the corner and you see that glowing thing, it's
Yeah.
it's
Like,
incredible.
The atmosphere in the crystal geode,
Yes.
it's like mystical. Yeah, they're so pretty. And we were thinking a lot about like what is the purpose for crystals in Minecraft? And one thing is like they should have a use, and we will talk more about one of the usages soon. But the other thing is a lot about just adding a lot to the experience of exploring. And we want them to be quite rare. So when you find them, it's really gonna be like magical, because they're just beautiful. And you know, when you walk on the crystals, you hear these sounds.
Yeah, it's just we talked before about the pillar of underground of Marvel. And I feel they're just the perfect feature for that sort of pillar,
Yeah.
right?
But you can't just take them with you.
Right. So you can break the crystal plant we saw in the video, but they actually grow from a very special block. And that block is unobtainable. It's sort of like you think about spawners, right? You cannot just take it and put it in your base. It makes you go and build farms all around your world. And that also encourages you to create tunnels between them and find out ways of transferring those items from place to place. And I just love those sort of features that really encourage other gameplay in the game.
As an explorer myself, I'm very excited about
Yes.
finding all of these. And you mentioned a usefulness to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So from those crystal plants, you get crystal shards items, and you can actually use them to craft a telescope.
That is amazing.
It is. It's such a useful item. Super cool. And the cool thing is that, so yes, you use the crystal shards to craft them, but you also need something more, and that's also a new thing that we added. It's copper.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's new ore. And in you saw the copper ore in the video. And a very interesting thing with the copper ore is that it generates in a different way. So normal ores often generate like an ore blob, but copper is different. So imagine that you are out mining and you see copper ore. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna mine the copper. And then you see some stone. It's like, they look a bit different. So you continue to mine. And then you find another copper ore. And you probably go like, okay, I think I found a copper vein. So we're actually adding ore veins to Minecraft. And like they really add so much to mining. It gets so interesting because it's kind of like following a trace when you mine. And they tie so well to the pillar we have about adding strategy to mining.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you've personally wanted copper in the game since you maybe before you started?
Yeah, you mentioned it once or twice.
Well, maybe a few times. But yes, so I think I got inspired by the pretty copper roofs in Stockholm, and
yes.
they are all green because we have so many like old buildings here. And we've actually added that mechanic to Minecraft as well. So you know, if you place a copper block, it will first be orange, but after a while, a pretty long time, it will turn green. And it's something, I think it's so cool, because it actually adds history to Minecraft. Because, for example, if you have a really old Minecraft world, then you can see on like a house and like, oh, the roof turned all green, and then you know that that house has been there for a really long time.
And copper won't only be used for the telescope. You actually have another really cool thing that you'll be able to craft with it.
Yeah. So Jens talked a bit before about these design principles that we have in Minecraft. And one of them is that if something bad happens, the player either caused it or it has a way to sort of avoid it. And one of those exceptions, for example, is lightning striking. Now, some people like to build wooden roofs in Minecraft. Some even build wall roofs.
Looking at me,
Might.
it's not at all like the grandest castle in my realm actually has a roof fully built of wool.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
No,
but
we did get some fires.
yeah, so to try to help the players with that, we are introducing the lightning rod.
That is very useful for all the wool roofs out there.
Yeah, I think this is a problem that happened to a lot of our players. Even personally, I had this peaceful game that I played with my partner, and it wasn't peaceful. And we went out and we were like looking at animals, collecting a few animals to our base, and we came back and our house was gone. And I was quite confused because I consider myself to be someone who knows a bit about Minecraft, and there are no creepers, there are no Endermen. So what happened? We figured that probably a lightning strike hit and burned down the house, and we were quite traumatized because we were not prepared for this. So I think this lightning rod is really going to help with that.
Yeah, now you don't have to worry about that problem anymore.
No, I'm gonna place like lightning rods everywhere on my wool roof.
Good.
Will be perfect.
Good.
Now, you've introduced a lot of things already, and players already have a lot of trouble with their inventory and the amount of items, but you have an idea for that.
Yes. So as you know, we keep adding new blocks and new items all the time, and that do create a bit of an inventory problem. And we're aware of that, and we have actually been thinking quite a lot how we can solve it, because we want to have like a good gameplay solution. We want it to be balanced, and we actually have an item in this update that will be really helpful, and it's the bundles.
bundles.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's such an elegant solution as well, and I love it. I think we spend a lot of time talking about the inventory problem, and I think one of the biggest takeaways there was that this is not actually one problem. It's constructed from a lot of sub-problems. For example, hotbar management is one problem. Getting a lot of blocks for your huge build somewhere, that's like something the shulkers help with. But I think there is a third sub-problems where every time you leave your base to go exploring somewhere, your inventory keeps getting full of junk. Like, this lot just has 2 flowers. This lot has just 1 seed, right? And I think the bundles are really going to help with that problem.
Yes. So the thing with the bundle is that you can place many different kinds of items in one bundle. So many different kinds of items in one inventory slot. So for example, I can take those 2 flowers and 1 seed and put them in one bundle. It's great.
And you can kind of use them like presents too.
Oh yes, I'm so excited about seeing what players do them in like shopping district, right? You can have the bundle of the day, which has a bunch of things with it, or you can have secret bundles where you have 3 of them in a chest, but you get a random one. I think it's really going to be cool.
Yes, and for example, if your friend has a birthday, you can put like your prettiest item in the bundle because it looks like a gift wrapper, and then you can give it to your friend.
That's so cool. We've talked so much today on the like really game design side, but how do you work on the art side?
We actually have a very close collaboration with the art team, and it's great.
So my job is basically to get an abstract idea and imagine how it would fit into the Minecraft universe and then start sketching it. So once my sketch is finished, I send everything to the 3D artist that it's gonna model it and animate it to make it alive.
My job is to bring sketches to life and make them move in 3D space. To work with a game that has such a special look, it's amazing. It's a challenge, it's fun, it's sometimes frustrating, but it's very rewarding. I love it.
I make the pixel art of the blocks, and usually when I create a block texture for a new rock type, it's going to be a lot. Like, I'm going to make 50 iterations of one block because I want to make it right. Every block is like a building block for people's imagination, right? So I try to like pour a lot of love in each block to make sure that people can create what they want.
So I think my favorite thing about the Minecraft look is that it's very unexpected, very unconventional, and that's where like the special comes from.
Minecraft in terms of game art is special because it has such a unique look and it's very restricted. It has to be 3D pixel art and we can only work within those boundaries. So we have to like think inside the box but also outside the box. I've been working on this exciting new mob. This new mob will be the cutest predator ever existed in Minecraft.
This update is incredible. Like, people have been waiting for this for so long, and we're finally gonna do it.
I hope that the community is really, really happy about it. I hope they have a lot of new stuff to play with, and I hope that they're excited to see some concepts as well.
It's so lovely when you can think about all of the different jobs within game development. I love seeing the artists and developers, and we all, like across the show, there's so many different types of roles that people have.
Yeah, and it's really awesome to interact with all those roles and have a lot of a back and forth. We're very open in Mojang and getting ideas from all over the place, and specifically working with the art team is amazing as well. You sort of throw one idea to the air and he draws something and you're like, oh, what is that white thing in your drawing? I didn't even think about it, and it starts so many awesome ideas going. And we even integrate it into our prototype process, and actually I think until I saw those sketches by the art team, I didn't really understand what archaeology in Minecraft even means.
Archaeology?
Yes, so we're actually adding a new system called the archaeology system. In this system, you're basically going to find these excavation sites all throughout your world. And you can make this new tool called the brush that is going to help you uncover the mysteries of all these dig sites. So you come to one of these ancient structures and you can sort of use the brush to clear away some of the rubble that may have collapsed in those structures. And sometimes you might even find something shiny inside them. But, and this is important, if you are not careful enough, like in real life, you can destroy that artifact. And when that artifact is gone, that artifact and all the secrets it held are gone forever. But if you're careful enough, if you take your time and you're deliberate, you can get some of those hidden artifacts. And for example, here we got a ceramic shard, which is basically how whoever lived here used to tell and pass on their stories.
I love the story sides of the archaeology, because we often talk about that we want to deepen the mystery in Minecraft. And when you find these hidden artifacts, you kind of find like connections and hints. And we will never tell the full story, but these will inspire the players to tell their own stories about their own Minecraft worlds.
Exactly. I think it's going to be really exciting to see what players do with them. For example, here we see an exhibition that someone built for this, where he can compare all the different clues he finds, right, and try to preserve whatever was down here, and he can compare what we found with whatever new thing, and sort of try to connect the pieces, right? And here we see those pieces connected in a clay pot, actually trying to reconstruct them back. And you can create that however you like. You can create your own stories or try to guess how those pieces used to connect.
Yeah. It's also so fun to be very creative with these new pots, because you can put the shards in any way you want.
Exactly, and when you're pleased with your creation, you can fire them up, and you have your own painted clay pot.
Pretty. So, Nir, is this programmer art still?
Yeah, the art we're seeing is still work in progress, but I personally like the dragon. I think it's cute.
Yeah, it didn't say programmer art isn't pretty.
Yeah, you know, the problem is the artists are way too good.
Yeah.
Right? They just make us look bad. I don't know.
Archaeology is amazing. I mean, the excavation site is so incredible.
I'm so excited about this. I've spent a lot of time about it, and I actually got to do a lot of awesome conversations with actual archaeologists from all around the world, and it's been, honestly, I sort of feel like I got so passionate about it myself that their passion sort of stuck to me, and it was so amazing to learn more about this, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
And you have a dev diary coming out on our YouTube channel where you kind of explore all of the archaeology even more.
Yeah, it's honestly really, really exciting. So I had so much fun with this, and I learned so much that I decided that it can't stop with me. So we're going to do a dev diary when we're actually going to talk to those archaeologists. And actually, we might even get to visit some interesting locations.
That is amazing. Well, it feels very sad, but we're almost out of time. But we've been hinting at a new mob, like over the course of the show, like 3 or 4 times. So are you going to tell us about it now,
Yes,
please?
now we're gonna tell you. It's the cutest predator you will ever meet.
I feel like there's only one sound I can make after seeing that, which is like...
Cute.
It's so adorable. The axolotls.
How did you decide on axolotls?
So, when we add a new mob to Minecraft, we really wanted to have like its own unique character. We wanted to have purpose. And it's also a very good thing if it happens to be ugly cute. And the axolotl is perfect. It has all of these things. Well, I guess on the ugly cuteness, it might be quite a big emphasis on the cute side, but still. And we actually had a brainstorm in the team. So we were like, okay, we're gonna add goats, but we want to add another animal. And then one of the developers posted like a big picture of an axolotl, and we all went like, yes!
Yes, this right
Perfect.
now.
It's like the definition of ugly cute. It's like made for Minecraft.
Perfect.
And then we also found out that axolotls are endangered in the real world, and we think it's good to add endangered animals to Minecraft to create awareness around that. So that's also a good thing.
Like with the bees.
Yes, like with the bees last year, for example. But yeah, so the axolotls, as you saw in the video, they live in the lush caves and they really add a lot of life to the lush caves. And there's also a bucket of axolotl.
I didn't think it could get
Look,
cuter,
I know.
but
That is just so cute. I don't know how to handle it, but it's so cute. So when you're walking around in the lush caves and you see some axolotls, then you can actually scoop them up in your bucket and take them with you. So maybe you build like a pretty aquarium for them in your base, or maybe you bring them to your ocean adventure.
and now I see why you're calling them the cutest predator you'll ever meet.
Exactly. So when you scoop them up in a bucket, you can actually create your own axolotl army, basically, and charge into the oceans with them, and they will help you fight various. Well, they'll attack cute fish as well, but they'll help you fight the drowns and the guardians, and they're actually quite useful when fighting guardians because they have this special ability that whenever they take damage, they sort of play dead. And when they're playing dead, no mob will actually attack them. So they have this time to regen back help and then jump back into the fight together with you. And if you learn how to cooperate with them really well, they might even heal you during the battle.
That is so cool. But okay, so you added these two mobs that are like as different as possible with the warden and the axolotl.
Yes. So this update is actually a lot about contrast, which is great because it creates like a dramatic player experience, which is so good. So we're like updating the highest heights of Minecraft with the mountains. We're updating like the deepest of the caves. We have this terrifying warden, the cutest axolotl, and also in the caves, like the lush caves are very light and welcoming, and then the deep dark is like super scary and challenging.
I guess we can't forget our little goat in there.
Oh.
It's kind of the in-between.
Yeah, we shouldn't forget the goat. I guess it's in between. It is still very cute, but in between. No one can be as cute as the axolotl.
No, I don't think so.
Вы уже посмотрели, заметили, как там рассказывается про археологию. Сразу Ангелина рассказывает он про все и то. Но вот на деталь пропустили. Чё они тогда сразу не сказали? Мы поделим это обновление на 3 части. Ну почему мы должны ждать? Чё нам подают красивый пакет с подарком, а потом резко его забирать? Типа, ну, это тебе на следующий день рождения. Ну, смысла этого нема. Да, я все понимаю, тяжело, карантин, но большая компания. Куда? Когда я увидел видео, я на него ссылочку в описании оставлю, где она говорит, ну извините, мы не можем так и так. Но это тоже, ну поймите, 2015 версия 1.15. Она... Что, блин, добавили? Одни пчелы. Сколько багов! Чтобы горшок тогда починить, никто его не хотел чинить. 1.16. Дальше, стабильная версия. До этого была стабильная 1.12. Смысл? 1.16. Да, хорошая версия, все же говорили. Все с этим были согласны. Они говорили, мы выпустим все в одном релизе, никаких не будет бет, ничего такого. Последняя версия у нас, по-моему, 1.16.5. В 1.16.2 или 3 добавили нового еще моба. Чего вы сразу не вложили? Почему мы должны ждать чего-то нового? Вы нам обещали новые пещеры, новые горы. Вы не можете справиться с самым легким. Сделать стабильно. Или вы даете, что вы давали нам, или вы не даете, что мы хотим. Не. Тяжело на это все реагировать адекватно, когда ты думаешь, что все, ну, так. а тебе дают просто моджинги какую-то подставу. Подсирают тебе просто-напросто. Да, понимаю, тяжело, нелегко, но все равно какая-то должна быть мысль с этого всего. Они на своем официальном канале рассказывали, как создавали мобов, как все это. Вот этот трейлер. Мы его сейчас еще обсудим, кстати, ребята. Половина, ну что попало, честно говорю, ребята. Если, вы создали игру, игра должна состоять, адекватно. Вот, знаете, мы вам даем, что мы обещали. Я когда смотрел перевод стрима Майнкон, я просто задумался, а в чем логика? Если вы нам археологию обещаете. Это не по стилистике даже взять Майнкрафт. Майнкрафт это песочница, с которым ты можешь все сложить. Они нам обещали какую-то, типа, мы из Майнкрафта сделаем пушку. Да. За ту же самую графику. Я сам только недавно узнал, что обещал моджинг. Мы сделаем новую графику Майнкрафта с одной краской. Откладывали релиз, откладывали. Решили все к этому, к Minecraft RTX. И то это не на Java, а на Bedrock. Сколько вот гуляют ребята на Bedrock? Напишите в комментах. Я гуляю, да. Когда у меня комп не рядом, тогда да. Так, по большей степени я в Java. Почему вы обещаете? Да, есть датапаки. Сейчас новая. Давайте даже вот сейчас буду пальцы считать, сколько они нам обещают. Новый графика. Нового моба. Шрека даже того самого. Давайте его так называть. Он нижний страж. Вы добавляете козла. Когда он был в бете, я его даже сам тестил. Что он дал нам? Ничего. Он был баганый, разбаганный. И уже было с ним что попало. Если честно говоря, правильно сказать. Вы добавляли, когда 1.16 выходил, вы добавили страйдеров, пиглинов, миглинов. Что это нам дало? А ничего это нам не дало. Незер только обновился. Все. Да, это было сейчас хорошо уже, прошел уже год. Вот, вчера или сегодня вышел новый версия, я вот обновлял все себе. Но это тоже, извините, надо все везде понимание найти. И вопрос, эту игру покупать миллиарды людей. Даже кто не любит Майнкрафт, просто похейтить ее любит покупать. Она стоит, да, не сильно дорого, не сильно дешево, но все равно она дается платно. Взять то же самое CSGO. Отойду от темы. Что добавили? Премиум. Все. Чё ты Майнкрафт не дашь моджинг? Берите вы ее бесплатно. Хочете какую? То же самое Bedrock, не. Ты плюс покупаешь себе скины, карты, все такое. Хочешь запустить RTX? Покупай видеокарту RTX. Хочешь запустить какую-то игру Майнкрафт? Смотрим. Давай. Требования даже Майнкрафта там, по-моему, и третий. Извините, я на своем AMD Athlon. Нормально. Да, вот такое, ребята. Моджинг полностью опустились. Некоторые даже стараются как-то его вытянуть. Это я уже не первый, кто такое видео снимает, и не второй, и не третий. Уже много кто про такое сняло. Думаю, вы поддержите этот видос лайком и комментом. Но в этом видосе я не хотел захейтить как-то Это мое сугубое мнение. Ну, как-то так. Всем спасибо за просмотр. Не забывайте подписаться на канал, поставить лайки. Всем спасибо. Всем пока-пока.